Boris Johnson has rejected claims he should stand down during another rowdy session of Prime Minister's questions. The SNP accused him of clinging on to power following his rambling speech to business leaders on Monday.
The Prime Minister defended his record, saying people wanted to know more about what his government was doing for Scotland than about politics. Well, live now to our Westminster correspondent Catherine Sampson. And Catherine, another tough session for Boris Johnson.
Yes, and look, this comes in the context of rumours, reports that certain Conservatives have started submitting letters of no confidence in the Prime Minister to the powerful backbench committee that can act to remove a Tory leader. Now, Boris Johnson's supporters playing this down today, saying this is simply Westminster tittle-tattle. Nevertheless, after weeks of turmoil here over the sleaze row, U-turns, some people feeling that certain promises weren't being met, that speech from the Prime Minister on Monday to business leaders at the CBI has only really served to heighten tension.
Are your MPs behind you, Prime Minister?
Boris Johnson may have hoped to move on from bad headlines this week, but this speech...
I don't know if you've been to Peppa Pig World. Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World. Not enough.
Didn't help. Labour today echoing what journalists have been asking all week.
Is everything OK, Prime Minister?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I tell you what's not working, it's that line of attack.
More backbenchers were there to cheer for the Prime Minister this week, but after a month of turmoil and a string of U-turns, his supporters are playing down talk of division over Boris Johnson's leadership.
Prime Minister's an ebullient, optimistic character, defies all the sort of laws of political gravity.
But could he be pulled down, wondered the SNP's Westminster leader.
With his party falling in the polls, his colleagues briefing against him, has he considered calling it a day before he's pushed out the door?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I think what the people of this country want to hear is less talk about politics and politics, and they want to talk about what the government is doing for the people of Scotland. And what the Scottish government is doing for the people of Scotland, which isn't enough.
A lot of noise this afternoon, but will that be enough to drown out any talk of a leadership challenge?
Too lively.
Now, while that all rumbles on with the Prime Minister, this afternoon he has been focused mainly on the very sobering news coming from the Channel. This is the news that dozens of migrants, one agency reporting at least 30 people have died trying to cross from France into the United Kingdom. The Prime Minister has been chairing a COBRA meeting this afternoon. We expect to hear from him shortly, and certainly there's going to be more pressure on his Home Secretary, Priti Patel, because of this.
All right, Catherine, thanks very much for that update.
The First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, has tried to squash speculation about her political future, telling the BBC she's not standing down anytime soon and intends to fulfil her election pledge to serve a 5-year term in office. Tonight, one senior Conservative said Scotland would need to change long before the next Holyrood election, which is due in 2026. Here's our political editor, Glenn Campbell.
On the world stage at the Climate Summit in Glasgow, as Nicola Sturgeon expanded her global network at COP26, some wondered if she may be eyeing a new international job beyond the Holyrood fray. It's not that long since she was re-elected First Minister, and Nicola Sturgeon insists she's committed to fulfilling the 5-year term she sought from voters.
They gave me that trust, they re-elected me, we face serious times as a country, and I intend to fulfil that mandate.
Using words like intend in this interview with the BBC's Laura Kunsberg allows for a possible change in circumstances, and she does not specifically say she'll fight the next election. But
I am not intending to stand down anytime soon as First Minister. I'm enjoying the job. It's a challenging job, particularly just now, and I'm looking forward to the next 5 years ahead.
Before the election, Nicola Sturgeon mused about life after politics.
I would love to turn my hand to writing a novel.
In a recent magazine interview, she raised the possibility of fostering children when she leaves office, but is now warning opponents against thinking her political end is near.
It's almost as if my opponents have concluded they can't beat me or remove me from office themselves, so they're kind of crossing their fingers and hoping that I'll remove myself from office. But they're going to be really disappointed.
As she lined up with opponents to greet the Queen at Parliament's royal opening, Nicola Sturgeon's understood to have bet her Conservative rival £100 that she'll outlast him in leadership. At Holyrood tonight, this former Tory leader seemed surprised by the First Minister's interview.
She's not standing down anytime soon, intends to serve a full term. Is that good news from your point of view?
I think it's bad news for Scotland. That she intends to serve the whole term. Well, I mean, the Scottish Government is really a litany of broken promises, and I think Nicola Sturgeon is the leader in that list of broken promises, and Scotland will need change long before the next election.
Barring an upset, Nicola Sturgeon is on course to become the longest-serving First Minister in May. And if she does serve the full term, she'll have lasted in office for almost as long as Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Glenn Campbell reporting Scotland, Holyrood.